I'm Jen, an art therapist in the local area of Easton, Pennsylvania. I wanted to share a little bit about how we can use creativity to really enter into a place of our heart and our center, where we can take a deep breath, feel peace, and just feel more connected to ourselves and our daily life. That word connection is why I'm calling this new workshop that I'm starting the Creative Connections, because it really is about just being a touch point to feel more connected. Just like how we go for a walk to just feel more connected to nature, and just like how we go to call a friend to feel more connected to them and people in our life, we can go to art to feel more connected to ourselves. And it's something that I've been doing personally for myself for, wow, time has flown. Let's see. I really started using art to connect deeper to myself as a teenager. I'm trying to think what year. Must have been 14 or 13 years old, and right now I am 30 years old, so it's more than 15 years of my life I've been using art to connect more to myself. It started just as a natural process that just kind of organically became. It was one of those things. I always had a journal. I would write a few ideas down, or a few things I was thinking about. Sometimes I would write about things that were really stressful. Sometimes I just feel really inspired and want to write my little inspired thought down. And then doodles would start next to those journal entries, and then the doodles turned into full-blown drawings, and then those drawings turned into, now I'm just using sketchbooks as a journal, and it became my personal art journaling process that was a way to connect to myself more. And afterwards I would always feel a bit of a release and a little bit of a light start to be turned back on if it was starting to feel dark, and it'd bring me that warmth of, okay, I'm here, I'm living my life. And yeah, I could get into that forever, but anyway, going back to that, it's definitely formed and developed over the years, and me using art to connect to myself more in an emotional way all through high school, and having a friend notice that and bring up to me that there's this thing called art therapy. That's what got me into art therapy. I was like, oh, so it's an actual thing that people can do to really heal and be therapeutic through art. And that's what started my journey, through school, becoming an art therapist and learning about all these ways that we can heal and connect to ourselves in a deeper way. Also took me down the path of looking into energy therapy and meditation, which I really enjoyed as all different vessels to just connect deeper to ourselves, and in result connecting deeper to everything around us, to the world, to your belief system, spiritually, to each other, to just be a more connected being. So back to the art part. So that's definitely developed very organically, and it's changed over the years and keeps changing over the years of how I connect. So I thought I would share a little bit with you of what that process could look like. So sometimes it would become a way of where I would use it as almost like a gratitude journal, and I would have like written on here, it's probably hard to see, like what I'm thankful for. And then after kind of just sitting for a moment and pausing and trying to recognize what's present with my feeling body, I can allow the creation to kind of organically create. First it might come as a color or an image, or this one, the idea and the feeling of a butterfly going through a lot of changes. And then I just let the picture organically create from there. Sometimes it just starts with making a few lines on the page and seeing what's there. And it's just a way of almost putting like a fingerprint mark of an experience for me, of just being mindful and seeing what's existing within me in that moment, what's ready to emerge in that vast space of just being present and giving me a chance to pause and to be present. I don't know if you've watched some of my other things, but I feel like a good representation of that is the inner ocean. So if you look at like my Instagram, you'll see there's a video about this inner ocean painting I'm working on that's slowly developing. And the concept of the inner ocean is this idea that, you know, when we close our eyes and go inward, that there is this vast depths of ocean of experience energetically within us, of just our being, of our soul, of our mental experiences, our physical experiences, what I like to call the feeling body experiences, of where emotions just dwell in this vast ocean that has a lot of life living in it. And that's been a big goal of mine this past year or so, is to really go into that ocean and be present to what's happening within me. So I feel like these are really other good representations of, it's like that fingerprint of jumping into the ocean and finding what seashells and gems and stones are in there, and kind of picking that one up and sitting with it for a little bit, and it kind of comes out in all these different kind of little art experiences of connecting deeper in a creative way. So I'm gonna just take you through some of these. I like to use pastels a lot personally for these because they feel more airy and more free, and I think my inner ocean's very free. It's just who I am, but it doesn't always have to be pastels. So this one's kind of the space that is between, the space between is the truth. Yeah, so the space between everything and that connection that we receive is where I find that sense of truth. And the movement through pathways creates life. What shape I make matters. It's kind of really coming into the feeling body, I feel like, in this one. And sometimes just a peaceful moment. The idea to empower, don't answer. Sometimes we got a lot of questions we can't find answers to. And we want to empower ourselves with questions versus always having a solution and an answer, because when we empower with questions, we open ourselves to the unknown and the possibilities. When we define ourselves with a finite solution or answer, then the journey's over. We don't give ourselves to explore other things, or we don't give ourselves the chance to explore other things. Sometimes it's just a lot of swirls, some doodles. But yeah, a lot of times, sometimes there's a lot of writing. But this one's probably a really good example. Or when I see something in life that just was like a special memory and I want to imprint it, it's a little fingerprint down to kind of look back on. This one's actually a really good example of using art to connect and understand yourself more. I've made another video about this one, so I'm going to try to just talk through it here. So let's see. So this is a picture of, I think I put into words, and I mean that's why it's an art, right? It's because sometimes it's hard to put into words. So this is a picture of like a feeling experience, I would say. So a lot of times I use shapes and different imagery and symbolism to kind of capture that feeling experience. And I don't remember exactly what was going on at this moment. This was like 2 years ago or so. But I remember little bits of it, and just from the picture I can kind of tell that I had all this light and warmth I knew existed within me, and this water trying to come in and feel around me, but there's this prickliness that was really containing and was having trouble getting the light out. And I kind of went through defining it for this one. And it was something that like I kind of was experiencing while making it. So it's not like I fully thought through what is my feeling body experiencing right now. It's like I had the experience, started to draw about it, and then was discovering it while I was creating. So I started to experience it while I was creating. So I did write a little bit of, so while creating it, I'm like, well, now I'm looking at the image. What does this do? So to try to, like, sometimes when we're being curious and having observations of our images so we can connect deeper to ourselves, it's good to put judgment on the shelf. Judgment doesn't get to play a role here. Judgment has a beautiful role in life and other places that when it's used properly, but it doesn't have to have a role here in my creative process. There's no job for it, so it's vacation day. So I can go sit on the shelf, have its vacation, and I try to open the door to be more curious and playful and observatory, being very having a lot of observation, to have a lot of observation about it versus judgment. So looking at the image, I'm noticing the prickliness and I'm saying, what do you do? You know, not trying to put judgment on, just asking the question, what do you do? And it says that it avoids, it prolongs, it's discomfort, it's getting it done in a rush, it's pushing the energy out, it's feeling impulsive, it's hard to feel connected. And it believes it will bring pain, it believes it's not quick enough, it believes it has time to think, it believes it can't have time to think, it believes no one will like you, it believes no one will listen, it believes it feels like an emergency. Sorry, it's hard to read my own handwriting sometimes. It believes that everything's an emergency and it wants instant gratification and it wants to be proved wrong. So that's what all the prickliness believes. That's what's discovered through the art. It's a little example. Then it asked, what does the water do? What does the blue do? And it cleans away the blocks and stagnation of energy. It releases old belief patterns. It soothes to remind the center that it's safe now to simply be yourself without the old protection. So that's actually a really good point, is recognizing that sometimes even something that we can kind of label as negative or not ideal of experience, like the prickliness, it wasn't created to harm me or the experience of the feeling body that I was demonstrating through this picture. It was created to protect me. And most of the time, any of our defense mechanisms that we create are to protect us, but it doesn't mean that they are helpful anymore. But it's important to recognize that it was created to protect you, because it helps us remember that it's not like we're trying to hurt ourselves here. We're not. And we can just be a little bit more kinder and compassionate with why those defense mechanisms are there in the first place and how to slowly love them into a more aligned place instead of the place that is no longer helpful. Yeah. So it believes I am to be, I guess I'm trying to say it believes I'm allowed to be myself and has infinite time to access gifts within. It believes it can take your time and let energy build with more form. It can take time to focus and practice. It can create, it can appreciate that time, and it believes it will align with who it is made to align to. So that's what that part of that feeling experience believes. And then I drew the image of what would be the ideal feeling body experience. And this is my image of that. And I realized I never really said what the yellow and the green meant, but I really feel like that's just a big imprint of when my light's on. I like to say that's just like when my heart feels turned on, when it feels warm, when my soul feels purely present and able to give and receive fully from its truth, and just like the lights on. And so that's what that image looks like for me. And I asked what would help this happen. And I said, start new habits, sit in the discomfort of wanting to rush, and welcome yourself to slow down, knowing you developed a schedule to pick it back up. You can trust yourself to do so. Letting go of attachment to results or other people's expectations. Just connect and connect and connect. Believe you are enough. Believe in yourself, and that you can even be successful and financially free by just being myself connected. Be thankful for your experiences and to celebrate them. So yeah, that's a little bit about what an art experience could be like when you're using it to connect deeper to yourself. Yeah. So it's a little bit of inside my own personal art journal to give you an idea of what I'm really looking to offer the chance for others to experience with me, since I have been connecting to myself creatively for the past 15 years through personal self-study, through lots of schooling, lots of supervision and experiences and courses. I want to open the door for the chance for you to experience it too, because I felt that it was so helpful for me, for myself now and for myself as a teenager. Which brings me to the workshops I am going to be hosting in Forks Township. It's technically Easton or Tatamy too, so if you're in any of those areas in Pennsylvania, please let me know if you're interested. Starts April 14th. It'll be running for 6 weeks. You can go to 1, you can go to 2, you can go to 3, you can go to all 6. All are welcome. It's not going to be consecutive, like if you miss a class and you don't know what's happening the next time. And kind of talking about how this journey started for me as a teenager and is something I still use every day as an adult is why I'm offering 2 workshops, one for teens, 11 to 14, and those will be focused on more self-exploration, how to, engage with the art for that connection to themselves so they can build more self-awareness, more social emotional skills, and being aware of their emotions in a very non-clinical way, more just light, playful, curious way, in a non-judgmental space where they can just feel safe to create and learn more about themselves. And then also why, as an adult, I know many adults could probably benefit from this as well. I'm having an adult workshop separately. So the teen one is more like a teen art group, and then the adult one is the workshop version of it, which will be a little bit longer meditations. Like the teen one will be like a minute, very light, very gentle, less than a minute sometimes, and then like a little meditation to take you through that vision and open up the door for having that creative experience with different themes for the night. And then the adult one, the workshop will get a little deeper with that meditation, really centering into your body, going still like a max 5 minutes to really have that feeling body experience so that you can start creating internally, so that it just naturally flows when you go into your journal and sketch and have that experience of creative connection with yourself externally as well. So for the adult workshop, that will also start April 14th. It's going to be 7 to 8:30 at night at the Forks Art Society cottage, which is a really cute space. They're going to just be cozy up in the cottage, making some art with some great people and great community. So come out and join us if you want to be part of that community. It's a very small space available to only small groups. So if you're interested, let me know sooner than later so I can make sure and accommodate that there's enough space for everyone. And if we have more people interested, then I'll open up another night for it. But yeah, the max is 10 people per workshop, so it's a very small group. So please let me know if you're interested. And we can get the ball rolling on making plans. There's enough space and accommodations for everybody. And yeah, but yeah, it's at a beautiful cottage, and it'll just be a nice community to get to connect to yourself more creatively. Thank you for watching, and share with someone that you think would enjoy it. Bye.